Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out the Hagerman Valve Pedal. Now, this has a real 12 AU7 right in the center here, and this is designed to be an always-on pedal. So if you're playing a solid-state amplifier and you want to get a little bit more warmth out of it, or if you're playing a valve amp and you just want to get it over the edge of breakup and get more compression and also sag, this is a really great choice. This is handmade in Honolulu, Hawaii. You're about to hear this in the context of a jam track going through the Hagerman PP12 back here, and then we'll test it out on the PV Red Stripe Bandit down here. A massive thanks to Jim Hagerman for sending this out. If you want to take a look, I'll link it down below. Here we go. Let me give you a quick rundown of the Hagerman Valve. The Valve is an all-tube boost pedal with no silicon involved, operating in starved plate and starved heater mode, which is difficult to pull off. So most attempts at these type of pedals have marginal performance due to excessive grid current at such low bias. Now, what this actually translates to in layman's terms for this guy right here is you get a full bandwidth sound and all the nice sag and non-linear goodness that comes from actually having a valve in your signal chain. The Hagerman Valve is designed to fatten up your signal, and it absolutely does. So this could be your one and done pedal when it comes to just leaving it on the entire night. Alright, here's the Hagerman Valve up close. So this is a true bypass pedal, and it can give you either up to 10 or 20 dB of gain, which is completely tube dependent. And in this one, we get our 12 AU7. We've got our drive and level controls on the front and our on-off switch, and that is it. Input jack is over here, output jack is on this side, and on the back, we can power the pedal thanks to a 9-volt power supply, and this will draw up to 135 milliamps of power. If you are someone who's more technical than this guy right here, I'll link down to Jim's website and you can see some of the graphs he's got on the actual product page for this. But the takeaway is that this works great for both a valve and solid state amplifier, getting you into that nice sort of rich saggy tone that a valve amp is known for once you kind of dial it up. And it's great at warming up and just giving a little bit of a different character to the PV Bandit down here. I'll timestamp each section down below. If you want to check this out, I'll link it in the description box. All right, let's kick it off. So what I'm going to do is break this video down into two sections. First up, we're going to try this going into the Hagerman PP12 amplifier head back here, the same Jim Hagerman that makes the pedal. And then we'll go into the PV Bandit Red Stripe back here, which is a solid state amplifier. So you can hear it in a valve amp or tube amp, and then also into a solid state amplifier. This is my clean tone on bridge pickup. Now, the best way to showcase what this pedal is doing, being that it's an always on pedal, is to crank the drive all the way up. So you'll hear it sort of fatten out the sound and give you all the nice stuff. And then you can use your volume control to control how dirty you want it. Here we go. with it off. So it's rounding out the low end beautifully. Let's try some rhythm guitar. So what I'm going to do is leave the pedal set up with the drive all the way up, but just work the volume control. So it's just up from off, and this is bridge and middle pickups. Yeah, I'll just turn it off as a point of comparison. All right, now if that's a little too saturated, you can just, of course, back the drive off. I'll put it at about 2 o'clock. So that's great. If you're running more gain in your amp to start with, then that's going to sound really cool. Actually, speaking of which, let's do that now. Over to channel 2 on the Hagerman, and this is how it sounds with the pedal currently off. And now with it on. And this is basically what I was doing in the intro track. Turn down. And all the way up. I think if you're a blues player, like traditional blues player in particular, you gotta get a kick out of this. It's pretty sweet. Let's take a look at the gain control, and I'm going into the PV Bandit Red Stripe 112 back here, loaded with an Eminence Texas Heat speaker mic'd up with an AEA N22 ribbon microphone. So this is the neck pickup. This is my Little Crow Corvino electric guitar. It's made in Australia, and we're on the mini humbucker neck pickup here. Pedal on. The more you crank the drive, the louder it gets as well, which is kind of cool. It's sort of opening up the sound of the amp. Now I've got the drive at about 3 o'clock or so. Pedal off. Pedal on. It does change the feel of the amp. It's very reminiscent of kind of like my Blues Deluxe on the edge of breakup, which is pretty sweet. And now with it all the way up. Yeah, wow. So if you're a solid state amp player, you've got a Quilter or you've got a PV Bandit or whatever, and you just want to warm it up, this is an absolute no-brainer. Let's wrap this up. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the Hagerman Valve Pedal. Now, in terms of it going into the solid state amplifier back here, this PV Bandit, it really did change the feel and the tone of the amplifier. It gave it more warmth. It kind of took off the harsh edge that solid state amplifiers are sometimes known to have. Even though you can kind of dial that out on the amplifier, it definitely sounded better with this on than off. Now, in terms of how it worked with the Hagerman Valve amplifier head, I liked it more as a slight boost from my starting tone. So just crank the volume up a little bit more and then use your volume control to give it the dynamics. And it works beautifully. It's as clean with your volume control down with this on than with it off. So that's awesome. I really like how you can just leave it on, which is its intended use. It's an always on style pedal. But you can just work your volume control on your guitar and you're good to go. I think if you're a blues player or someone looking for that sort of really great off clean tone that's got lots of great feel behind it, this really does work well. Now, my only complaint about this for some players who might be playing live is that there's no chassis for the pedal. So yeah, you've kind of got to be careful with this. There's no bracket on this one. It is a lot smaller than some of the other Hagerman Valve pedals. So yeah, you've just got to make your mind up whether or not that's right for you. But I think in a studio situation like this, I would have no problems with this. I think if you're going to be using this live, you could even just Velcro this thing into the back of your amp or amplifier head and run it that way. So it's not going to get damaged or anything like that. So yeah, it's a cool pedal. No tone control, so just keep that in mind. But I didn't feel like I needed one, which is great. I set my amp up how I wanted it. I turned this on, and those were the tones that you heard. The jam track was some of my favorite stuff. Once you just start playing rhythm guitar, doing that sort of blues lead stuff, it really does feel great. This will work for a number of different styles. And again, depending on your style and amplifier and all that kind of stuff, you could probably make this work for your particular sound. I just love its simplicity, and you do notice a difference with it on and off, which is always great. A massive thanks to Jim Hagerman out of Hawaii in the USA, one of my favorite places in the world, for sending this out. I do appreciate it. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. Let us know what you think. Catch you soon.